guards are generally the positions that will separate jiu-jitsu away from most other grappling arts. In jiu-jitsu, when we land on our back, the fight is not over, and we continue searching for sweeps, submissions, things like that. My positioning for my closed guard is me flat on my back. My opponent will be generally kneeling on both knees down here. Sometimes they might be standing up while I try to maintain my closed guard. But generally, the closed guard offensively is being played while my opponent is down on his knees. If they posture up like that, I'm going to either try to break them back down, sweep them, or transition into some form of open guard. I want to make sure that when I'm in my closed guard, I keep my ankles locked. If I leave my ankles open, it's obviously not a closed guard, but it also opens up that space for my opponent to start trying to escape and pass around. I want to keep this circle closed around his body so that no matter which direction he pushes on me, there's no big open gap for him to just slide his way out. I want to make sure also that when I'm crossing my feet, I'm not keeping those feet low down here near the floor and his feet and his butt. I want my feet to be at like low back to mid back area so that my knees stay higher up towards his armpits. One of the things we will use oftentimes to control his posture and maintain dominance in this position is a knee pull that helps me break the posture down with my legs and not just my arms. If I just try to fight this body with my arms, I'm gonna lose to the strength of his torso. So we are in here, keeping our legs closed, feet higher up near the waistline or the mid back, so that I'm not down here. Down here, when I go to pull with my knees, I don't actually affect the higher up end of his lever, the spine. All right, I want to be able to get that higher part up where his head and shoulders are moving towards me so that I can break him down and start forming my connections. When I am playing guard, I generally don't want to be laid out flat with hips, shoulders, my whole spine on the floor, making movement a little bit difficult. I'll generally be engaging with a curved spine that allows me to move to different angles without having to scrape my whole back across the mat to do so. Helps me engage my core, make these movements quicker, crisper, and a little more effective. When you are top player inside of somebody's closed guard, do not waste your time going for submissions, chokes. None of these things are going to work for you. His hips are on top of my hips, which for a grappling setting gives him the advantage over my movement and my weight and pressure. As I'm trying to drive into these submissions and get myself situated for the right angle for a finish, he can easily shift his hips, start to expose the back, or possibly even just isolate a different of my limb and start to attack me from there. So I want to make sure that when I'm in somebody's closed guard, I'm only thinking two things. I want to negate all of his attacks, all of his submissions, all of his sweeps, any transition to a better attacking position. I want to stop that in its tracks. I have to stay in the game for me to do anything else. Then the only other thing that should be in my mind is breaking and exiting this closed guard. I have no offense as long as his legs are wrapped around me and locked behind my waist. I have to open those. So we're gonna build a few different methods of standing to the feet and then splitting those ankles apart and then starting to pass through the guard. But it all starts, all of that passing has to start with the guard break, or else we get stuck in this loop where we're constantly fighting off their attacks as we try to position ourselves and posture back up. I need to immediately get up to my feet. I teach my students breaking from the feet and not from the knees because it takes my upper body and my limbs away from his hips and his upper body, makes it harder for him to finish me with anything above the waist. So find yourself in this position, start setting up with your posts and your grips on their body, and then we'll look at making our way up to the feet where we've now started to bring ourselves closer to the open guard setting, and we'll have other concerns and other objectives from there. For submissions from a bottom no-gi close guard scenario, we obviously are going to have ways that we can attack. I can go after the same types of submissions, my arm bars, my triangles, Kimuras. But what I have found in the last few years of transitioning from gi to no gi is that the grips that I can get to set those submissions up from a closed guard are a lot harder to hold on to and maintain. What I find to be easier myself, and we're still going to look at plenty of submissions from the closed guard because there's a lot of times that he'll open us up for them. But most of my closed guard submissions in no-gi are reactive, where he's made a mistake and I've capitalized on it. So we'll want the mechanics of the moves down and sharp. But most of the time, if I'm hitting a triangle in no-gi, it's not because I force the arms there. It's much harder to keep the grips. It's more that he might be posting and trying to like get an elbow inside, and I manage to take advantage of that. And a lot of that happens in the gi too, for sure. But in the gi, I'm able to take grips that he can't just shed. And from there, I can break him down and hold him into a certain posture that allows me to really isolate these limbs by themselves. Not so much the body. In a gi, I don't have to control the whole body to control a limb. But in no gi, if I leave that whole body able to move around while I'm just holding onto the arm, I better have really strong grips if I want to win that. Otherwise, all of this strength in his back that the gi's not pulling tight on and creating leverage through, he just explodes up. He pulls the arm out, and hopefully I didn't already open my guard, overzealous, thinking I'm going to get a submission right here, or maybe I can get it re-secured before he gets out. But where I see a lot of people go wrong in the closed guard for no-gi is that they are spamming submissions without nearly enough control over the body. So we will have arm bars, we will have triangles, we will have all of the same submissions as an idea, but our setups very often from the bottom guard, when we're just looking for a submission right here, they're either going to come from mistakes that they made or as part of a series of movements. Maybe I'm going after an arm drag, and as I'm working my way around, my knee gets stuck. And so I'm going to take the arm here instead of taking the full transition off to the back. But I led with the transition towards the back, and through trying to control the body, it left me with control over a limb. So we're going to have a lot of different transitions. Some of them proactive that I will lead and I will make happen. Some of them reactive that will be in response to things that he is doing. Some proactive ones that I might use would be taking the back so I could bring myself outside and around the arm and build my way around him. Or I might use a similar situation where I get outside of the elbow to take that post away and sweep him so that now I'm up in a top mount position and he's underneath of me. So as we are in this battle, as new spacings, new levels open up, we want to be thinking about how we can fit ourselves into other positions that are going to allow us to fight back better than just keeping my ankles locked. If my opponent stands up and all I have is just hold on tight with my ankles and pull my knees to my chest, I might have some luck sometimes with that, but on that rare or maybe not even so rare occasion that the guy bursts through my legs, now I have no plan B. I put all my eggs in one basket, close guard didn't work out, and now I'm just getting smashed from half guard or side control, wherever they wind up. So we want to make sure that as they are trying to escape, I'm not getting that tunnel vision on the close guard of, I have to keep this, I have to keep this. I want to be thinking, how can I move out of this position to somewhere better? Or if they are trying to move out to somewhere better, how can I make that actually a worse spot for them?